Do we go on where we left off yesterday, or would you like to start something new?
What do you...
Well, I thought, there was a point that wasn't entirely clear where, what we were discussing yesterday, which is that we rather accepted that, that security, psychological security was wrong, was the illusion. But in general, I don't think we made it very clear why it is a delusion. You see, most people feel that psychological security is a real thing and quite necessary, and when it's disturbed, or when a person is frightened or sorrowful, or even so disturbed that he might be psychologically disturbed and require treatment, he feels that psychological security is necessary before he can even begin to do anything, you see.
Right.
And I think that it isn't at all clear why one should say that it's really not as important as physical security.
Yes. No, I think we made it fairly clear, and let's go into it.
Yes.
Is there really psychological security at all?
But I don't think we discussed that fully last time.
Of course, nobody accepts that.
Mm-hmm.
But we are inquiring into it.
Mm-hmm.
We are going into the problem of it.
But we said something even deeper, I think, yesterday, and that is that, at least as I was summarizing for myself, and that is that we felt, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, that conditioning and conditioning sets the stage for the importance of psychological security, and that in turn creates insecurity. I mean, it's the conditioning that creates the psychological security as a focus. Would you agree to that?
I think we two mean something different.
Well, yeah, well, what do you mean?
First of all, sir, we take it for granted that there is psychological security.
Okay, all right. Well, we think that we can get it.
We feel that there is.
Right. That's right.
Well, yes, I think that if you told somebody who was feeling very disturbed mentally that there's no psychological security, he would just feel a lot worse. I mean,
of course.
Right.
I mean, we are talking of fairly sane, rational people.
Okay.
We are questioning whether there is any psychological security at all, permanency, stability, a sense of well-founded, deep-rooted existence psychologically.
Maybe if we could say more then, what would be psychological security?
I mean, after all, say, I believe in something.
And that gives me...
It may be the most foolish belief,
right.
a neurotic belief. I believe in it.
Right.
And that gives you tremendous sense of existence, living, and vitality and stability.
I think you could think of two examples. One is if I could really believe that after dying I would go to heaven and be quite sure of it, then I could be very secure inwardly, no matter what happened.
That would make you feel good.
Well, I'd say I don't really have to worry because it's all a temporary trouble, and I'm pretty sure that in time it's all going to be very good, you see.
Right.
That's the whole Asiatic attitude, more or less.
Right.
Or if I think I'm a communist, I say in time communism is going to solve everything, and we're going through a lot of troubles now, but it's all going to be worthwhile and it'll work out, and in the end it'll be all right.
Right, right.
If I could be sure of that, then I'd say I feel very good, secure inside, even if conditions are hard.
Okay, all right.
So we are questioning, though one has these strong beliefs which gives them a sense of security, permanency, whether there is such in reality.
You mean
actuality.
It's not possible.
I mean,
the question is it possible?
Is it possible?
Right.
I may believe in God, and that gives me tremendous sense of impermanency of this world, but at least there is permanency somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. But David, I want to ask David something. Do you think that, for instance, take a scientist, a guy who's going to his laboratory every day, or take a doctor. he's getting security
Well,
from
not,
going to, I mean, he takes security from the very routinization of his life.
From his knowledge.
Yes, from his knowledge. If he keeps doing this, he feels, and the scientist, what does he get security?
well, he
out of?
may believe he is learning the permanent laws of nature, you know, and really getting something that means something.
Yeah.
And also getting a position in society and being sure of his being well known and respected and financially secure.
He believes that these things will give him the thing, the goal. The mother believes that the child will give her security, right?
So don't you psychologically have security?
Yeah. Okay.
Faith.
Right. That's a good point. I get a security out of my knowledge, out of my routine, out of my patients, out of seeing my patients, out of my position.
But there's conflict in that, because if I think it over a little bit, I doubt it. As I question it, I say it doesn't look all that secure, right? Anything may happen. I mean, I say there may be a war, there may be a depression, there may be a flood.
Right.
There might be sane people all of a sudden in the world.
You think there's a chance?
So I say that then there's conflict and confusion in my security, because I'm not sure about it.
You're not sure about it.
But if I had an absolute belief in God and heaven,
This is so obvious.
It's obvious, I agree with you, it's obvious, but I think it has to be, in other words, it has to be really felt through.
No, but sir, you,
Right.
Dr. Schemberg,
I'm willing, yeah.
and you're the victim.
I'll be the victim.
For the moment.
Okay.
Don't you have strong belief?
Right. Well, I wouldn't say...
Don't you have a sense of permanency somewhere inside you?
I think I do.
Psychologically?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a sense of permanency about my intention.
Intention.
I mean, you know,
Your
about my
knowledge.
work, my knowledge, my
Status.
my status, the continuity of my interest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In
Yes,
other words,
yes,
that
yes.
There's a sense of security in the feeling that I can help someone.
Yes.
And I can do my work. Okay?
Yes.
So, I mean,
That gives you security.
yeah, there's a certain
Psychological.
something about it that's secure. I don't feel... What am I saying when I say security? I'm saying that I won't be lonely.
No. Feeling secure that you have something that is imperishable.
Which means, but no, I don't feel it that way. I feel it more in the sense of, what is going to happen in time? Am I going to have to depend on, what is my time going to be? Am I going to be lonely? Is it going to be empty?
No,
Isn't
sir,
that security?
I mean, as Dr. Bom pointed out, if one has a strong belief in reincarnation, as the Holy Asiatic world has, then it doesn't matter what happens. In next life you have a better chance. You might be miserable this life, but next life you will be happier. So that gives you a great sense of, well, this is unimportant, but that is important.
Right.
And that gives me a sense of great comfort, great sense, as though I was, well, this is a transient world anyhow,
Right.
and eventually I'll get there something permanent. This is human.
This is in the Asiatic world, but I think in the Western world you don't have that.
Oh, yes, you
particular-
have it.
You have a different focus.
Of
well,
course.
but it's different. But you always had the search for security. I mean, either you
Right. But what do you think security is? I mean, for instance, you became a scientist, you went to the laboratory, you pick
I
up
never
the
went.
books all the time, right? You never
well-
went to the laboratory, but I mean, you've had your own laboratory. What the hell have you called security?
Security,
Yeah. I mean, what does he call his security? His
having
knowledge?
something, no, having something to which you can cling to and which is not perishable. It may perish eventually, but at the time, for the time being, it is there to hold on.
Yeah. You can feel that it's permanent. You see, like somebody in the past, people used to accumulate gold because gold is the symbol of the imperishable. They could feel that gold.
We still have people
Yeah,
accumulating gold. We got
Yes,
businessmen, they
Well,
got money
that gold
in the field.
really, you feel it's really there. You know, it'll never
Right.
corrode. It will never vanish,
Yeah.
and you can count on it. You know.
Yeah. So it's something that I can count on. That's what
Count on, hold on to,
to,
cling to, be attached
believe
to.
in
Exactly.
the me. And I know that I am a doctor. I can depend on that.
Knowledge,
Right, knowledge,
experience.
experience,
And the other hand, tradition.
tradition. I know that if I do this with a patient that I'll get this result. I might not get any good results, but I'll get this result.
Yes. So
Well-
I think that's fairly clear.
But what, yes, it's clear enough that we have that. You see that that's part of the society.
Part of our condition.
Our conditioning, that we want something secure and permanent. At least we think so.
We
But
want
what-
immortality. I think you see Krishnaji's point about the Eastern world. There is, I think, a feeling in the West of wanting immortality.
Which is the
Same thing. I
Well,
agree with you.
wouldn't you say that insofar as thought as can project time, that it wants to be able to project everything all right in the future as far as possible?
That's what I meant when I said loneliness. If I don't have to have my loneliness.
But you see, in other words, the anticipation of what is coming is already the present feeling. And see, if you can anticipate that something bad may come,
Yeah,
you already feel bad, right? Is that simple?
That's right.
right.
That's
Therefore, you would like to get rid of that. I
So
mean,
you like to anticipate that it won't happen.
it'll all be good.
Right.
You know, I should say security would be the anticipation that everything will be good,
Good.
in the
That's
future.
Will be all
Continuous.
right.
Will
Well,
continue.
or it will
Continue.
become better. If it's not so good now, it will become good with absolute certainty. You see.
So then security is becoming.
Yes, becoming, perfecting,
Right.
becoming.
I was
better.
thinking of what you were saying the other day about the Brahman. Anybody can become a Brahman. Then that gives him security. If I know I can.
Say, that is a projected belief, a projected idea, a comforting, satisfying concept.
Right. You see, I see patients all the time. You know what their projected belief is? I will become. I will find somebody to love me. I see patients who say, I will become the chief of the department. I will become the most famous doctor, one man said. I will become, and his whole life goes like that. Of course, it's also all
Yes,
focused
yes,
on being the
yes.
best tennis player. The best.
Of course, of course.
Well, I mean, it seems that it's all focused on anticipating that life is going to be good. Would you say that?
Yes, life is going to be good.
But it seems to me you wouldn't raise the question unless you had a lot of experience that life is not so good. I mean, in other words, that it's a reaction to having
you
had
think
so
that
much
is?
experience of disappointment or suffering. Or
Would you say that we are not conscious of the whole movement of thought?
no, but I mean, I think to most people they would say that's only very natural. I mean, I've had a lot of experience of suffering and disappointment and danger, and that's unpleasant. And I would like to be able to anticipate that everything is going to be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would seem, I mean, at first sight, it would seem that that's really quite natural. But I mean, you're saying it's not now. Something is deeply
Yes,
wrong
we
with
say,
it.
we are saying there is no such thing as psychological security.
Yeah.
Now,
We have defined what we mean by security.
Yes.
We don't have to beat it over.
No. I think we've got that.
it.
yes,
Right.
but is it clear now that, you see, these hopes are really vain hopes? I mean, that should be obvious. I mean, that
Yeah, that I think is a good question. You mean, is it, there is, you see, Krishnaji, he's raising a good question. It's this whole business you're saying, is it meaningful to look for security? Is there such a thing?
So there is death at the end of everything.
yes. Well,
You want to be secure for the next 10 years, that's all, or 50 years. Afterwards, it doesn't matter. Or it does matter, then you believe in something. That there is God, you'll sit next to God on his right hand, or whatever it is you believe. So I'm trying to find out not only there is no permanency psychologically, which means no tomorrow psychologically.
yeah, but that hasn't yet come out
Of
clearly.
course.
You see, I mean, we can say empirically we know that these hopes for security are false because, first of all, you say there's death. Secondly, no, you can't count on anything. No matter materially, everything changes.
Everything is
Socially,
in
it changes.
flux.
mentally everything in your head is changing all the time. You
Yeah,
see. You can't
yeah.
count on your feelings. You can't count on enjoying a certain thing that you enjoy now,
Mm-hmm.
or you can't count on being healthy. You can't count on the money.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't rely on your wife, you can't rely on nothing.
Right, right.
So that's a fact. But I'm saying you're suggesting something deeper.
Yes.
It seems to me. I mean, we don't base ourselves only on that observed
No,
fact.
that's very superficial.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I'm with you there.
So is there then, if there is no real security, basic, deep, then is there a tomorrow? Psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take away all hope. If there is no tomorrow,
Right.
you take away all hope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you mean by tomorrow is the tomorrow in which things will get better. I mean,
Get better, with better, more, greater success, greater understanding, greater
more love. And so on.
more love. The whole business.
I think that's a little quick, that jump. And I think that there's a jump there, because as I hear you, I hear you saying there is no security.
But it is so.
It is so. But for me to say, or for to really say, look, I know there's no security.
Why don't you say that? I'm not.
That's what I'm getting at. Why don't I say that?
Well, isn't it a
Why do you
fact that
think
there's
I
no?
don't?
I don't know. Isn't it first of all a fact that just an observed fact that there isn't anything you could count on psychologically?
Right, but you see, I think there's an action there that Krishnaji is saying, well, why don't you?
Why don't what?
Why don't you? He says, why don't you say there's no security? Why don't I?
Do you rationalize what we are saying about security? Say yes, as an idea, or actually so?
I actually say it so, but then I say, well, I'll keep doing it, I'll keep doing it.
No. We are asking, do you, when you hear there is no security, is it an abstracted idea? Or an actual fact, like that table, like your hand there, or those flowers?
I think it mostly becomes an idea.
That's just it.
Then why should it become an idea?
Yeah, that's
That,
why.
I think, is the question. Why does it become an idea?
Is it part of your training?
Yes. Part of my conditioning.
Part of real objection to see things as they are.
Right. That's right. Because it moves. It feels like it moves then. Do you feel that?
Well, it seems if you see that there is no security, then the self. Wow. I mean, it seems that. You see, first of all, let's try to put it that there is something which seems to be there, which is trying to protect itself. Namely, let's say that it seems to be a fact that the self is there. If you see what I'm driving here.
Of course.
And if the self is there, it requires security. And therefore, this creates a resistance to accepting that as a fact and puts it as an idea only. You see what I mean? It seems that the factuality of the self being there has not been denied. You see, the apparent factuality. Right?
Right. Right. But why hasn't it been?
No,
Why do you think it hasn't been? I mean, what happens?
is it that you refuse to see things as they are? Is it that one refuses to see that one is stupid? Not you. I mean, one is stupid. That to acknowledge that one is stupid is already, you follow?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's like you say to me, you refuse to acknowledge you're stupid. Let's say it's me. What is that? Means that I got to do something. It feels
No.
like. I mean, something happens to me.
Not yet. Action comes through perception, not through ideation.
I'm glad you're getting into this. Yeah.
Doesn't it seem that as long as there is the sense of self, the self must say that it is perfect, eternal, and so on, do you see?
Of course, of course.
But what do you think it is? What makes it so hard to say? Is this what you mean, by the way, when you talk about the destruction in creation?
Yes,
In other words,
yes.
is there something here about the destruction that I'm not?
You must destroy that
I must
thing.
destroy that. Now, what makes it hard for me to destroy? I mean, destroy this need for security. Why can't I do it?
No, no, it's not how you can do it. You see, you're already entering into the realm of action.
Yes, that I think is a crucial point.
But I'm not. I should first see it. And from that perception, action is inevitable.
Yeah, that I think is crucial. All right, now, to see insecurity, do you see insecurity? What do you actually see it?
What?
Insecurity. That there is,
No. No. Do
Yeah.
you actually see?
there is no security.
No, that you are clinging to something, belief, all the rest of it, which gives you security.
Okay.
I cling to this house.
Right.
That I'm safe. It
Yes.
gives me a sense of my house,
Yes.
my father.
Place to go.
I mean, it gives me
Right.
pride, it gives me a sense of possession, it gives me a sense of physical and therefore psychological security.
Right. And a place to go.
A place to go. But I may walk out and be killed, and I've lost everything.
Yeah.
There might be earthquake and everything gone. Do you actually see it?
I actually,
I mean, you do. So go to a poor man. He says, of course, I have no security, but he wants it. His security says, well, give me a good job, beer, and constant work, and a house, and a good wife and children. That's my security.
right, right. Well, that,
When there is a strike, he feels lost,
yeah.
but he's got a union behind him.
Right, right, right. And he thinks he's secure.
Secure. And that movement of security enters into psychological field. It's my wife, I believe in God, I don't believe in God, if I'm a good communist, I will have a good people, the whole thing. Do you see it? You see, the seeing or the perception of that is total action with regard to security.
I can see that that is the total action.
No, that's an idea still.
Yeah, you're right. I begin to see that this. I
Yes.
begin to see that this this belief, this whole structure, begins to be the whole way that I see everything in the world. Right?
Right?
I see, and I begin to see her, the wife, or I begin to see these people, all they fit into that structure.
You see them, your wife, through the image you have about them.
Right. And to the function they're
Well,
serving.
their
And then-
relation to me, yes.
Yes.
That's right. That's the function they serve.
The picture, the image, the conclusion is the security.
That's right.
Yes, but you see, why does it present itself as so real? You see, there is I see that there is a thought, you see, a process
Right,
of thought
right.
which is driving on, say, continually.
Are you asking why has this image, this conclusion, this all the rest of it become so fantastically real.
Yes, it seems to be standing there real, and everything is referred to it, you see.
More real than the marbles, than
Oh,
the
yeah,
hills, than the...
anything. Yeah.
More real than anything.
Why?
I think it's hard to say why, except that it seems to, because it would give me security.
No,
I think it would give me
much further.
security.
No, because, you see, suppose abstractly and as an idea we can see the whole thing has no security at all, right? I mean, just looking at it
Right.
rationally and abstractly.
But that's putting the cart before the horse.
Well, no, I'm just saying that if it were some simple matter and giving that much proof, you would already have accepted it, you see. I mean, if this...
Right.
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 I mean, but when it comes to this, no proof seems to work.
Right. Nothing seems to work.
Because there seems that you say all that, but here I am presented with the solid reality of myself and my security, which seems to deny. See, there's a sort of a reaction as if I'm saying, well, that may be plausible, but it's only words. The real thing is me. Do you see?
Right.
That's the sort of
Well, there's more than that
What?
to it. Why it has such potence? I mean, why it seems to take on such importance?
well, maybe, but I'm saying that it seems that the real thing is me, which is all important, right?
Right.
Mm.
There's no question about it. Me is important.
Which is an idea.
But it doesn't, we can say abstractly it's an idea. The question is, how do you break into this process?
I think we can break into it or break through it or get
Yeah.
beyond it only through perception.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise every thought is involved in that
Yes.
me,
Part
and
of
it's
it,
therefore
yes.
it's
Because I want to
distorted.
get through it because it'll make me feel better.
Of course, yes.
Right.
And
That's
the
right.
trouble
That's
is that all that we've been talking about is in the form of ideas. They may be correct ideas, but they won't break into this.
Right.
Because this dominates the whole of thought.
That's right. I mean, you could even ask, why are we here? We here because we wanted
No,
to...
sir, look, if I feel my security lies in some image I have, a picture, a symbol, a conclusion, an ideal and so on, I would put it not as an abstraction, but bring it down. See, it is so. I believe in something.
Right.
Actually, now you say, why do I believe?
Well, have you actually done that? I mean,
Yeah, no, I haven't, because I have no belief. I have no picture. I don't go in for all that kind of game.
Yeah.
I said, if,
right.
then I would bring the abstracted thing into a perceptive reality.
To see my belief, is that...
See it.
To see my belief, right. To see that me in operation.
Yes, if you like to put it that way. So, wait a minute, take a simple thing. Have you a conclusion about something? Conclusion. A concept.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I think I do.
Now, wait a minute. How is that brought about?
Well, through...
Take a simple thing, not complicated.
Right,
Take a simple thing. A concept that I am an Englishman.
well, no,
the
let's
trouble
take-
is that we probably don't feel attached to those concepts.
All right.
I mean,
All right, let's move.
Let's take one that I think I
You,
like to do.
you,
Let's take
go on.
me. Let's take
Avanti.
one about being a doctor. That's easy.
A concept.
That's a concept. Now that's a conclusion based on training, based on experience, based on the enjoyment of the
Which
work.
means what? A doctor means, the conclusion means he is capable of certain activity.
Right. Okay, let's take it concretely.
Work at
okay.
it.
All right. So now I've got the fact that there's a concrete fact that I've had this training, I get this pleasure from the work, I
All
get
the
this
rest
kind
of
of feedback, I got a whole community of feed in.
Yes, yes.
Books
move.
I've written, papers, positions I
Move,
hold.
move.
All right, all that.
Yes.
All right, now that's my belief.
Yes.
I mean, that belief that I'm a doctor is based on all of that.
Yes.
That concept. Okay. Now, I continually act to continue that.
Yes, that's understood.
Okay.
Therefore, you have a conclusion. You have a concept that you are a doctor.
Right.
Because based on knowledge, experience,
Right.
everyday activity,
Right. Right.
pleasure and all the rest of it.
Right.
So, what is real in that? What is true in that? Real, let's keep real in the sense
What do you mean?
Actual.
Well, that's a good question. What is actual? What do you
No,
mean?
but it's so simple. What is actual in that? Your training,
Right.
your knowledge,
Right.
your daily operation.
Right.
That's all. The rest is a conclusion.
But what is the rest now? Could we?
The rest, I'm very much better than somebody else.
Right.
Or else this thing is going to keep me occupied in a good way.
Good way. I'll never be lonely.
Right. I know about what's going to happen to
So-
X because I have this
Yeah.
knowledge.
So,
Right.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, but
of course, much more.
Right. So go ahead. I want to hear what
but
you
isn't
say.
there also a certain fear that that if I don't have this,
Of course, of
then
course.
things will be pretty bad, you know.
Right. Okay.
And that fear seems to
And-
spur on the.
Of course. And if the patients don't turn up,
Then
Yeah,
what?
then I have no
Fear.
money.
Right. Fear. Then no activity.
No
right.
activity.
so loneliness, back.
Right. Back again.
Back.
Right. That's right.
So be occupied.
Be occupied doing this, completing this concept. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Be occupied.
Right.
Now,
It's very important. Do you realize how important that is to people, to all people, to be occupied?
Of course they are.
Do you get the meat of that?
Of course.
How important it is to people to be occupied.
So,
I mean, you've got to see them running around today.
a housewife is occupied.
Exactly.
Remove that occupation. She says, please,
What shall I do?
Well, we have that as a fact. Since we've put electrical equipment into the houses, the women are going crazy. They got nothing to do with their time.
but no. The result of this, neglect of their children, neglect
Right.
of, then don't talk to me about it.
Right, okay. Yeah, let's go on. Now, we've got this fact, occupied.
Occupied. Now, is this occupation an abstraction or actuality?
Now, this is an actuality.
Which,
Actuality. I
Which
am
is-
actually occupied.
no, is the,
What is it?
uh,
I say, what is it?
you're actually occupied
Oh, yes.
daily.
Daily.
Well, what do you really mean by occupied? You see, this is the
What do
question.
you
Well, I
mean
meant,
by
I
occupied?
mean, I can say I'm actually doing all the operations. That's clear. I mean, I'm seeing patients as the doctor.
Right,
you
you're
know,
going to do your thing.
doing my thing, getting my reward, and so on.
Right.
But occupied, it seems to me, has a psychological meaning that further than that, that my mind is in that thing in a relatively harmonious way. There was something I saw on television once of a woman who was highly disturbed, and it showed on the encephalograph. But when she was occupied doing arithmetic sums, the encephalograph went beautifully smooth.
Right,
She
right.
stopped doing the sum and it went all over the place. Do you see that, therefore, she had to keep on doing something to keep the brain working right?
Which means what?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
what does it mean?
A mechanical process.
Yeah.
That's right.
But see, it seems the brain starts jumping all over the place unless it has this
A
thing,
constant-
content.
That's right.
So, you have reduced yourself to a machine.
Don't say it. Son of a gun. No, that's not fair. But it's true. There is a mechanical,
Responses.
oh yeah, commitment.
Of course.
But why does the brain begin to go so wild when it's not occupied? I mean,
That's right. See,
you see, the brain begins to jump around wildly when it's not occupied. You see, that seems
Because
to be a common
in
experience.
occupation, there is security,
There's order, right?
order.
In occupation, there's a kind of mechanical
Mechanical
order.
order.
All right, so we feel that our security really means we want order, is that right?
That's it.
We want order inside the brain.
That's right.
We want to be able to
That's it.
project the order into the future
right.
forever, right?
That's right.
Saying-
But you're just saying that you can get it by mechanical
Well,
order.
but then we get dissatisfied with it. You see, if you say, I'm getting sick, I'm bored with it, I'm sick of this mechanical life, I want something more interesting. You
Then
see, there's
the
always
gurus come
contradiction. See, and then the thing goes wild again. You see, the mechanical order won't satisfy it because it works for a little while.
Yeah, but I don't like the way that something is slipping in there. You say that we're going like from one thing to another. I'm looking for satisfaction, and now I'm not satisfied.
Well, I'm looking for some regular order which is good, do you see?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that by my job as a doctor, I'm getting it.
Yes.
But after a while, I begin to feel it's too repetitious. I'm getting bored.
Okay, but suppose that doesn't happen. Suppose
Well,
that people become satisfied
Well,
with
they don't.
mechanical order.
Well, they don't really. I mean, then they become dull. Do you see?
Yeah,
They say,
mechanical, so mechanical they don't. And you stop that mechanism, the brain goes wild.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
all right.
Yeah.
So they may feel they're a bit dull, and they would like some entertainment or something more interesting and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, there's a contradiction. You see, there's conflict and confusion. You see, in that whole thing, because
There's something
you see, for
bothers
example,
me here. What is it
well,
that
take this
bothers
woman
me?
who could always get her everything right by doing arithmetic sums, but she can't keep on doing arithmetic sums. I mean, somewhere she's got to stop doing these arithmetic sums,
Right.
and then her brain will go wild again.
So he's asking, what is disturbing him? He feels he hasn't put his teeth into
Yeah.
it. What is
There's
disturbing?
something, yeah, right.
What
something-
is disturbing you?
Well, it's this feeling that that you see, people will say that.
No, you say,
or
you.
I will say, let's say I can get this order, I can get this mechanical order, and I can
Yes, you can.
from occupying myself in something I like.
Go on, proceed.
And I can do. I mean, I can do it. I can do something I like, and it gets boring, let's say, or it might get repetitious. But then I will find new parts of it, and then I'll do that some more because that gives me a pleasure. See, I mean, I get a
Yeah.
satisfaction out of it.
But
So
I
then
see
I
there's
keep
trouble in
doing
it.
more of that. It's like an accumulative process.
No, you move from one mechanical process,
right.
get bored with it, and move to another mechanical process.
That's right.
Bored with it, and keep going.
That's right.
And you
That's
call that-
right. That's what I. That's
and you
it.
call that, and you call that living.
But I
That's
see-
what I call living.
I see that the trouble in it is, even if I accept all that, the trouble is I now try to be sure that I can keep on doing this because I can always anticipate a future when I won't be able to do it. You see,
Yeah, well,
say I'll be a bit too old for the job, or or else I'll fail, or I'll lose the job or something. You see, in other words, I still have insecurity in that order.
I see. I see. What
Essentially, it is mechanical disorder.
Masking itself as order.
Order.
Yeah.
How?
Now, wait a minute. Do you see this? Or is it still an abstraction? As you know, idea, as Dr. Д.Бомом will tell you, idea means observation. Original root meaning, observation. Do you observe this?
I see that, yes. I feel that I think I see that. I see what I see actually is I see this, a movement that goes doing this and then question, very much like Piaget's theory, right? In other words, there's assimilation
Yeah.
and accommodation, and then there's seeing what doesn't fit, and then
going
there's
on with it.
going on with it. And then there's more assimilation and
Yeah.
accommodation and going on with it. I mean, the psychologist, Piaget, the French psychologist, describes this as the normative human brain.
Yes,
This is
yes,
a cognitive, you know this.
Yes,
Yeah, but then
this is, I don't have to repeat it. I can observe it.
Right.
Yeah, then you see, the point is that are you driven to this because you're frightened of the instability of the brain? You see, that would mean being occupied with it. You see,
Mm-hmm.
And it seems then that's disorder. You see, if you are doing something because you're trying to run away from the instability of the brain, that is already a disorder. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, that will merely be masking disorder.
Yeah. Well, then you're suggesting that this is that the natural disorder of the brain. Are you
Well, I don't know if it's
suggesting a
natural.
disorder?
No, I'm saying that the brain seems to be disordered. See, this seems to be a fact, right? That the brain without occupation tends to go into disorder. I mean,
Okay.
maybe
Without the mechanics, we got this. That's what we know. Without the mechanics.
So that's frightened of it.
Right.
yes, but it is dangerous actually, because you know, one feels it's dangerous if it keeps doing this. You
Of
don't
course
know
it is dangerous.
what's going to happen. I mean, I'll do all sorts of crazy things.
Yes. All the neurotics, you know that business.
In other words, I feel that
Yes.
the main danger comes from within. You see, saying that
Absolutely. Now, when you see it, observe it, there is action, which is not fragmented.
But you see, I see that one can feel, you see, that you do not know, say, whether this disorder can stop, right? In other words, if you were assured that it could stop, saying that the religion, God will take care of it or something, then you would have security.
Yes, correct.
That God will give you eternal bliss. And
Well, you don't feel that anything. I mean, you don't feel that you can depend on anything.
nothing can control that disorder. You see, this really
That's
seems to
just
be the
it, sir.
thing. That see, there is nothing that can control that disorder. You may take pills or do various things, but it's always there in the background.
Right. Right.
Quite
Now,
right.
I mean, I don't know whether we should say why. One question is why do we have this disorder? Do you see? Is it if it were built into the structure of the brain, saying this is the human nature, then there would be no way out, right?
No, sir, I think the disorder arises, doesn't it? First, when we are mechanical process going on, and in that mechanical process, brain feels secure.
Mm-hmm.
And when that mechanical process is disturbed, it becomes insecure.
Mm-hmm. Then it does it again.
Again and again and
again
again and again.
It never stays with that insecurity.
No,
That disorder.
no. When it perceives this process, it's still mechanical, and therefore disorder.
Well, the question is, why does the brain get caught in mechanism then? Do you see? In other words, it seems in a situation, the brain gets caught in a mechanical process.
Because it's the safest, the most secure way of living.
Well, it appears that way, but we've seen it's actually very
not
dangerous.
appears, it is so for the time being.
For the time being, but in the long run, it's not.
In the long run.
You're
But
saying
wait,
we're
well, I see the
time-bound? Are
point.
you saying we're time-bound,
It is-
conditioned to be time-bound?
No, conditioned to be time-bound, conditioned by our tradition, by our education, by the culture we live in, and so on, so on, so on, to operate mechanically.
To take the easy way.
Easy way.
But you see, it's also a kind of mistake to say, let's say in the beginning, the mechanical way shows signs of being safer, and at the beginning the brain makes a mistake, let's say, and says this is
That's
safer,
right.
but then somehow it fails to be able to see that it has made a mistake. It holds to this mistake, right? See, in the beginning you might call it an innocent mistake to say this looks safer and I will follow it. But then after a while you're getting evidence that it's not so safe, but the brain begins to reject it, keep away from it.
Well, I think though you could raise the issue whether there aren't certain given facts in child rearing. I mean, when the mother feels a baby is crying and she jams a nipple in its mouth, that's teaching the baby that you shut up and take the easy way
poor
out.
baby.
Right?
Well, there's a lot of conditioning.
That's only the mothers who don't want babies when they jam the nipple.
That's right.
Don't.
That's right.
Well, I mean, that's part of the conditioning which explains how it is propagated, but you see, it still doesn't explain why the brain doesn't see at some stage that it's wrong, you see.
Why it doesn't see it at some stage that it's wrong?
In other words, it continues in this mechanical process rather
Yeah.
than seeing that it's wrong.
You are asking why doesn't it see that
Yeah.
this mechanical process is essentially disorder,
It's disorder and dangerous.
dangerous and all
Well,
So,
that.
yeah.
in
why
other words,
doesn't
it's a
that become
complete
clear?
delusion.
Yeah. Why
The
doesn't
security
it-
is totally delusory.
I mean, why isn't there some sort of feedback? In other words, I do something and it comes out wrong. At some point, I ought to realize that. Why don't I mean, for instance, I see my life as mechanical.
No, wait.
But
You
I
see
don't.
it?
But, yeah, but I don't.
Wait. Why is it mechanical?
Well, it's mechanical because it goes like this. It goes from, it's all action and reaction.
Why is it mechanical?
It's repetitious,
Which is mechanical.
which is mechanical. I want it to be easy. That's also mechanical.
You go
I
push
want
a
it to
little
be
further.
easy. I feel that gives me the most security to keep it mechanical. I get a boundary. I know it's like you say, I have the house. I've got my mechanical life. That gives me security. It's mechanical because it is repetitious.
And but you haven't answered my
I
question.
know I haven't. It's mechanical. I'm not sure. What's your question? Your question is why?
Has it become mechanical?
Why has it become?
And why does it remain mechanical?
Mechanical.
Why does
Why
it
has
remain?
it become and remain mechanical?
Oh, I think it remains mechanical, but it's the thing we began with. And to
No,
see,
you're not. If you pursue it, why does it remain mechanical?
I don't see it's mechanical.
No. And what has caused it to accept this mechanical way of living?
I'm not sure I can answer that. The feel of it is that I would see the insecure. I would see.
Look. Take it. Wouldn't you be frightened
Yes,
if
I
there
would
was
see
no?
the uncertainty.
Huh?
I would
No. If the mechanical process of life,
Right.
which one lives, suddenly stop, wouldn't you frighten? Would you
Yeah.
get frightened?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't there be some genuine danger in some
That of course, there is a danger that things might
will all go to pieces?
Right. Right.
Hmm?
Well, it's deeper than that.
we're going to find out. Come.
It's not just that there's a genuine danger and I would be frightened. It feels like things take on a terribly moment by moment effect.
No, sir. Look,
You agree?
would total order give it complete security, wouldn't it? Total order.
Yeah.
The brain wants total order.
Right.
Otherwise it can't function properly.
Right.
Therefore, it accepts the mechanical and hoping it won't lead to disaster.
Right.
Hoping it'll find order in that.
You know, could you say that perhaps in the beginning the brain accepted this just simply not knowing that this mechanism would really
Yes,
lead to
that's right,
disorder,
that's right.
and it just went into it by an innocent
And
mistake,
then,
right?
yes,
But then
caught
later
in a trap.
it's caught in a trap, you see, and somehow it maintains this disorder. It doesn't want to get out of it.
Because it's frightened of greater disorder.
Yeah, it says, all that I built up may go to pieces. You see,
Quite.
in other words, I'm not in the same situation as when I first went in the trap, because now I built up a great structure,
Yes,
and I
yes.
right.
think that structure will go to pieces.
That's right. I heard one man, I nearly fell out of my seat. I heard one man say, he says to another, turns to one of his colleagues, he says, I just published my 13th book. And he said it just like that. He was the way he said
No,
it was
sir,
desperate.
what I'm trying to get at is the brain needs this order. Otherwise it can't function. It finds order in mechanical process because it's trained from childhood. Do as you are told, don't, etc., etc., etc. There is a conditioning going on right away. To live a mechanical life.
Right.
But there's also the fear induced of giving up this mechanism
course,
at the same
of course.
time. I mean, in other words, that you are thinking all the time, without this, everything will go to pieces,
Yes,
including especially the brain. right?
brain, yes. And so they break from this mechanical business and join communities, all the process, which is still mechanical,
Right. Right.
which means the brain must have order. And finds order in mechanical way. Now, do you see actually the mechanical way of living leads to disorder, which is tradition. If I live entirely in the past, which is very orderly, I think it is very orderly, and what takes place? I'm already dead, and I can't meet anything.
I'm repeating myself always, right.
So please don't disturb my tradition. The communists say that, the Catholics say that, you follow, same thing.
Right.
And every human says, please, I have found something which gives me order, a belief, a hope, this or that, and leave me alone.
Right.
And life isn't going to leave him alone. So he gets frightened and establishes another mechanical habit. Now, do you see this whole thing? And therefore, an instant action of breaking it all away. And therefore, order. The brain then says, at last I have an order, which is absolutely indestructible.
Well, I think you see that it doesn't follow from what you said that this will happen. You see, in other words, you are saying this.
I'm saying it.
But it doesn't follow logically.
But it will follow logically if we go into it.
If we go into it, see, can we reach a point where it really follows necessarily? You see this?
I think we can only go into it if you perceive the mechanical security which the brain has developed, attached, and cultivated.
Let me share with you something, though. As you're talking, I find myself, I see it in a certain way, though. I see it like this, and don't get impatient with me too quickly, but I see it this way. It's like I can see the mechanicalness, right? And I see, and I was flashing through my mind various kinds of interchanges between people. And the way they talk, or the way I've talked to them at a party, at a cocktail party, at a place, and it's all about what happened before. You can see them telling you who they are in terms of their past. I
what
can
they
see
will be.
what they will be. This guy I just described to you who said, I did my 13th book! Right? He says like that. See? Very important that I get that information, see? And this, I see this, and I see this elaborate structure. You see, this guy's got in his head, I'm going to think this about him, and then he's going to go to his university, and he's going to be thought that. He's always living, and we've got these, the whole structure is elaborate, right?
Are you doing that?
When did you stop beating your wife? Of course I'm doing it right now. I'm seeing the structure right now, all this. I am.
But do you see what we were saying yesterday? Fragmentary action is mechanical action.
That's right. But it's there, Krishnaji. It's there. That's the way we are.
No, sir.
Right.
And therefore, political action can never solve any problem.
That's right.
Human problem. Or the scientists as a fragment.
But do you realize what you're saying? Let's really look at what you're saying. This is the way it is. This is the way life is.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
This is the way it is. Years and years and years history.
Therefore, why don't you change it?
That's right. I but this is the way it is. I mean, we live in terms of our structures, we live in terms of our histories, we live in terms of our mechanics, we live in terms of our forms. This is the way we live.
Which means, as we were saying it over, when the past meets the present
Right.
and ends there, there's a totally different thing taking place.
Yes. But the past doesn't meet the present so often. I mean, the problem
It is taking place now.
now it's coming, right now, right. We're seeing it now.
But therefore, can you stop there?
We must see it totally.
No. The fact, simple fact, the past meets the present.
Right.
That's a fact.
Well, let's see, how does the past meet the present? Let's go into that one.
We've got 4 minutes.
Oh, just
Well,
4
how do you
minutes.
say it? How do you say the past meets the present? You got 2 minutes now.
Well, I think that, just briefly, that the past meeting the present stops, you see, that the past is generally active in the present toward the future, right? Now, when the past meets the present, then the past stops acting. And what it means, the thought stops acting, so that order comes about.
Do you think the past meets the present or the present meets the past?
No. How do you meet me?
I meet you in the present.
No. How do you meet me? You have all the memories,
Right.
all the images, the reputation, the words, the picture,
Right,
the symbol, all that. With that which is the past, you meet me now.
That's right. That's right. Well, I come to you with a comfort, a
No,
sense...
no, no. The past is meeting the present.
Right.
Well, aren't you saying that the past...
That's right. No, yeah, go ahead.
That the past should stop meeting the present? I mean...
No, he's not saying that.
Are you?
You can't say that.
I'm saying something.
Yeah.
He's right.
No, but you can't let him say it.
What I'm trying to say is the past meets the present.
And then,
Can the past end there?
yes.
Not move forward.
Can it? That's... But is that the right question, or is it when what is the past meeting the present?
Past.
What is that action?
I meet you with a
But
picture.
why should I stop?
I'll show it to you.
Ah.
I meet you with the past, my memories, but you might have changed all that in the meantime. So I never meet you. I meet you with the past.
Right. That's fact.
That's a fact. Now, if I don't have that movement going on,
And I do.
of course you do. But I say that is disorder. I can't meet you then.
Right. How do you know that?
I only know, I don't know it. I only know the fact that when the past meets the present and continues, it is one of the factors of time movement, bondage, all the fear and all the rest. So, when there is the past meeting the present and says, yes, I'm fully aware of this, completely aware this movement, then it stops. Then I meet you as though for the first time there is something fresh and it's like a new flower coming out.
Yes, that.
Now I think, you see, we'll go on this afternoon or tomorrow. We haven't really tackled the root of all this. The root, the cause or the root of all this is this disturbance, this turmoil, this
yes.
travail, this anxiety, this, you follow?
Yes, why should the brain be in this wild
I know,
disorder?
why? You who are a doctor, an analyst, and all the rest of it, you have to ask that fundamental question: why?
Right.
Why do human beings live this way?
Right. Why do they? I ask that all the time. Why are human beings sick?
Time.
Right.
A double answer.